your Saturday morning to join this event. Yeah, so as Tim said, I'm Rob Limpert, and I kind of come here with two hats. My wife and I lost our house of 31 years up at the top of El Medio in the fire. So, share that, experience with everybody here. But as Tim said, I also work at RAND, where I run a futures center, where we spend a lot of time with, sponsors worldwide, organizations worldwide, doing this sort of exercise we're about to do. And, as we were recovering from the fire, I connected with Miriam and PRC, and it's like, oh, well, we do this sort of thing all over the world. We should probably do it here at home too. So let me dive in. This is mostly going to be you guys working together, but let me give you a little bit of introduction. So we call these visioning charrettes, and here's the basic idea. So start with the total truism that it's easier to arrive at your intended destination if you know where you want to go. So like all of you, I spent much of my time kind of really focused on all the stuff you have to do in the present, dealing with insurance, dealing with where do you want to live, where do the kids go, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But every now and then it's really useful to kind of lift our gaze and say, where do we want to get to? And what do we need to be doing now to get along that path? So the device we use for that, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but is, let's imagine it's roughly 10 years. We're getting kind of closer to 9 years now, but it's 2035. The Palisades is thriving, okay? And you've got out-of-town visitors, friends, and family, and you're walking through town, you show them where you live, and you're bragging like mad, okay? So what do you brag about? And then they say, oh, great, how did this happen? And you start to tell them the story of how all the things that happened, all the barriers we overcame in 2025, 2026, to get us on this path where we all can brag like mad in 2035 about how great things have turned out. So, this session is one of a series of hopefully 8. We started in April. We did an event down at the Verde Exchange, which is a big environmental technology conference every year in LA, and they David Abel, the guy who runs that, very nicely gave us a conference room, a support, and so we did a demo of one of these. Invited a bunch of Palisadians. The demo was kind of necessary because you come in with this concept, we should think about the future, and people say, well, that's great, but I'm too busy, I got to think about the present. So I said, oh, well, let's try it. And people came and said, oh, this is pretty great. So we got it kicked off, and then under the sponsorship of PRC, we've done 4 so far: Marquez, Alphabet Street, El Medio Bluffs, Castle Murray, Paseo Miramar, and now we're doing the Huntington Palisades. So each one of these has a focus on a particular neighborhood, though we don't check addresses at the door. So I'm not sure. How many people are here from the Huntington Palisades? Okay. Who here is from other parts of the Palisades? Okay. All right. Oh, wow. This is a pretty cohesive group. Okay. And then hopefully after this, we're going to do 3 more. I think 2 more.
We're doing the bowl. We're doing the Highlands.
Yeah.
And then, so everybody knows, on January 10th, we'll have a reception at the Dean's House where we inform the community of everything we found through the course of these 8 charrettes. And then we have partners that are partnering with us and RAND to continue on, because out of these 8 charrettes, we've identified a few issue areas that everyone in the Palisades seems commonly concerned about. So we're going to pick those up and dig a little deeper into them so that we can continue to inform this recovery.
Great. So hopefully you can see down. So this is a vision that has been pretty much emerging across these various sessions, and everybody's got a sheet on there. I think this is written down. But by 2035, Pacific Palisades will be a vibrant, resilient, beautiful, sustainable, financially stable, insurable, and welcoming community to which all residents who wish to return after the fire were able to return. The Palisades recovery from the devastating 2025 fires will have become a model for the nation. So that's, that seemed pretty good to people.
Yes.
You have a chance to fiddle with it. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, you may have noticed that you guys are each at a table with a theme, which is labeled both up on the sheets on the wall, and then if we got it right, you should have sheets, little handouts on that theme. So we've organized these around 4 interlocking themes, and the basic idea is, in order to be thriving, we need to get individual components right, and then those components need to all fit together. And so we divided up fire-safe homes, what happens on individual properties, fire-safe communities, how does the community infrastructure, roads, streets, power, water, firefighting, all have to fit together. Community and governance, which is both at the local level. What sort of community organizations? Topanga's got their local firefighting crew. What sort of community organizations, and then what do we want to be doing at the city, county, state level to support and a recovery, and then insurance and financing. So each of you are at a table on one of those topics. So. The exercise has a name. It's called backcasting, and we begin with the future world, then describe what we did to get there. So we're gonna, step in the future. I mean, this is of course hard to do, and there's a big gravitational pull towards like complaining about all the things that are going on now, and so give everybody time to vent and complain about that. But we really do want you to kind of spend a little bit of time of thinking, what does it look like 10 years from now? And how did we get there, just to kind of get focused on those sorts of issues. So thriving Palisades, what choices, what trade-offs did we make today to get there? Okay, so some themes from the previous charrettes. After we do each one of these, some combination of your people in the room, generally Miriam and whatever AI we're using at the time, tend to go through these things. So priorities across neighborhoods, local governance structures, and professional coordinating capabilities. Laying out what sorts of things need to be done at the house and the community level to make a fire resilient, insurable community. Addressing insurance and financing gap. Fire resilient building standards and infrastructure improvements. Fundamental recovery. And then community specific perspectives. I'll let you guys read that. So each community has a set of particular things, and there are longer versions of these which get sent out after each of these, so we make those available. Okay, so some specific topics for you all. This is not meant to be an exclusive list, and you guys are this is meant to just sort of tee up your conversations. But it's about 60% standing, about 40% burned. Does that sound about right? And your neighborhood has old and little enforced CC&Rs. I think they date from the 1920s, and no one's fixed them since then, updated them since then. And then in this sort of complicated governance thing, apparently some lots are not actually governed by the city's building codes, but are governed by the Coastal Commission, which doesn't care about a lot of the things that building codes often care about, and then often cares about things that annoy people in other dimensions. And to what extent should your neighborhood allow more contemporary home designs? Because as I understand it, it's been pretty, before the fire, it was pretty much all, more traditional designs. Larger homes, taller fences, and I'm sure there's lots of other issues. So particularly the community, the community and governance table might want to dive into issues of CC&Rs, building codes and that sort of thing. That list look okay? Any one or two we ought to add big time to that list? Wow, we're doing really well. Or you guys haven't had enough coffee yet. All right. Okay. Just some observations, which I find useful. It's like this famous saying, I think from the 19th century. For things to say the same, sometimes everything might change. You know, as much as we loved what we had at beginning of this year, and want to get back, we'll get back, but it'll be different. And so, in thinking about that, what's really precious that we don't want to lose? What's sort of the core of what was really wonderful? What's almost good that we want to make right? You know, we're rebuilding the whole community. We have a chance to fix the things that were almost right. What's terrible that needs to change, and what's missing? So I find these questions are useful to have running in the back of your head. Okay, so here is the plan. So assemble in small groups, which you've pretty much done. Roughly 8 participants per table, but like 4 is approximately 8 for this. So, we have 8 chairs, I think, so, roughly 8. And each then table has a facilitator from the AIA group, and they will nudge you along, but each one of these is yours. Each group has a theme, and then let's go through this exercise, describe the Palisades of 2035 and what we did in 2025 to get there. And each table has a sheet, a two-pager, except the Fire Resilient Homes, which we had trouble putting it all on 2 pages, so it's 4. It basically has a little setup, and then it's got some information, relevant information for you, and then it's got some discussion questions. And so, dive in and do whatever you want on that theme, but these are guides to kind of nudge you along. You should choose, we'll do this for about an hour, and then we'll report back. So each table should choose a rapporteur, and try super hard not to make it your facilitator. I'll be one of you guys. And give you about 5 minutes to stand up, summarize what you guys talked about, and we'll do a little Q&A. The facilitators will help you record stuff on your sheets. You'll see we got all the sheets from the previous vision charrettes here, so we're kind of getting a collection. What did you learn? If it's okay with you guys, we have these little recording devices on